Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette, coming to you live from the hottest place on earth, New York City. I'm totally giving you trad wife realness, feeling myself a little bit in my cute little dress. We got a lot of stories to get into today. Trump dropped some peace and stability bombs in the Middle East with Operation Midnight Hammer, and no, that is not pornography. MAGA influencers are very confused about this because they've all been, no, Trump is not about war. Oh, wait, Trump is all about war. The mainstream media is having orgasms over the bombs dropping and the B-2 bombers. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is to be released by a judge, and ICE is vowing to arrest him on the spot because, of course, they are. Mahmoud Khalil, who had been arrested and detained by ICE or Homeland Security or whoever the hell, who's been in jail for the last 3 months, he was released on bail, so congrats to him. The GOP is already doing gerrymandering in Ohio and Texas because they do not like their chances in the 2026 election. So they're trying to hedge their bets now and get the cheating in done early. And here in the city, Zoran Mondami is looking like he's taking the lead in the mayoral race against Andrew Cuomo. And Andrew Cuomo's got all of his rich friends donating buckets and buckets of money to make sure that that doesn't happen. A sad story about a father of 3 Marines was beaten in the street by ICE. And we've got, for dessert, we've got a debate between Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske, and Cenk Uygur. It's probably been going around all the news feeds, so I'm sure you've probably seen some of it, but I've got a take on it. And besides, it's just funny to watch. Anyway, so let's get into it. The war is on, baby. It is full on. Donald Trump, what was it, last week on Thursday, said that I'm going to give you guys 2 weeks before I make my decision. And then the next day he drops a shitload of bombs on 3 sites, nuclear sites, he says, 3 nuclear sites in Iran. And of course, this is after, Donald Trump was trying to supposedly make peace with Iran and do a peace deal. And then Netanyahu decided to, jump the gun and decided to just say, fuck it, and start attacking Iran. And then Iran attacks back. And then all this weekend has just been, full tilt boogie with getting into a war. He's starting to look like George Bush all over again, Iraq War 2.0. And anyway, before Donald Trump even got a chance to go out there and give his presidential speech, a la Barack Obama after he got, who did he get? The guy that supposedly took down the towers in New York. Donald Trump is trying to get that same vibe going so he looks really presidential. But before he even got a chance to do that, we've got this Yahoo right here, Benjamin Netanyahu. He decided he wanted to, congratulate Donald Trump before he even got a chance to talk. So let's hear what he's got to say.
Trump, your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things.
That is the dumbest fucking name. Sorry. Rising Lion. What are we talking about? A lion getting hard, getting ready to lay the pipe to a lioness? Okay, sure, man. Go ahead.
But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons.
The most dangerous regime, the most dangerous... You talking about Israel?
His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace.
Peace through bombs. Drop the bombs, and then we get the peace. That's how it works. Sometimes they shoot the bombs off a little early. I call that premature bombulation. That's old Netanyahu here. You think he's got a big enough Israeli pin on his lapel?
And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength.
Ooh, Daddy.
President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
And goddamn Iran. Oh, by the way, just this is just a little, Netanyahu always wears blue tie because it matches with the blue flag of Israel's blue flag. Notice how he's wearing a red tie tonight? This is totally a signal. Anyway, that's just a lighter point. And we don't need to hear any more of this because he is absolutely full of shit. He started this. This all started with Israel. Israel fired first. There is no other way to get around this. He shot first. But anyway, so our big, wet, beefy boy, he gets his big moment. He's got his three dumbasses behind him. And it looks like J.D. Vance did not get the memo on the red tie. Everybody else is wearing a red tie. J.D., you're going to have to stand over here, put you in the corner, and give you a little dunce cap.
Ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
I just learned how to pronounce those earlier today.
Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
But were they? We'll get into that.
Key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Hold on. Who's the bully of the Middle East? Who's been firing rockets at fucking everybody? I mean, really, who? Who is actively doing a genocide right now, Don? Come on, man.
40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs.
What are you talking about?
That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general.
What are you talking about? Roadside bombs, hundreds of thousands dead? What are you talking about? Are you talking about America in Iraq? Is that what you're talking about? How many fucking people did we kill and displace in Iraq? No. It's Iran, and he's about to go into the whole Qasem Soleimani thing, which, by the way, if you guys remember, back in January 2020, before COVID happened, he did a preemptive strike. He started off with, let's do a peace deal with Iran. Hey, Iran, let's do a little peace deal. Meet me in Iraq and we'll do like the deal of the century, man. Come on. And then he went to Iraq and they fucking bombed the shit out of him. And then, of course, Iran responds and retaliates because they got to save face, and they bomb an American military base. And then, of course, Donald Trump's like, oh, nothing happened. Nobody got hurt. It's all fine. This was a measured attack, and, we'll back out now. And it turns out it was like 150 American troops ended up getting like brain damage from the attack. But, Donald Trump got to shoot off one of his little rockets back then. And, of course, now he's shooting off his little rockets right now. He talks about, little rocket man. This is the little rocket man. This dude right here is the little rocket man. And, he got to drop his big bunker buster bombs. We'll get to that in a minute. But it reminds me so much of the Moab that he dropped back in 2017. Not ironically, but, it's a little conveniently. That happened, if I'm not mistaken, while they were doing the first tax cuts in 2017. So we're in the middle of doing the big, beautiful bill, which, by the way, we haven't spoken about in a few days because of the war. So that's really convenient. But right in the middle of the first tax cuts in 2017, he dropped the mother of all bombs. Nice little bit of distraction. Donald Trump is really good at distracting his people.
Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not
never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, I succeed. They will not take away my liberty.
This happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not
never
seen in many,
seen.
many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also
Probably
want to
not.
congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Cain, spectacular general.
Oh, no, not Raisin Cane, man. He brought back Raisin Cane.
And all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than...
Who shot the bombs, dog? Who shot the bombs? The peace bombs, the stability bombs. It was you. It was you, Don. You're the one that did it. Did they shoot at us? No. Did they shoot at Israel first? No. But they better not shoot again, because if they do, oh no, the likes of which no one has ever seen in the history of histories.
We have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the
Lots
most
of babies to
difficult of them all
kill.
by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight. Not even close. There has never been a military that could do what
The
took
likes
place
of
just a
us
little
we've
while
never
ago.
seen.
Tomorrow, General Cain, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference.
Pete Keg's breath, we took his phone away from him, so he wasn't able to leak this to any of the reporters out there. Oh, Pete, he liked to drink a little bit, so we had to take his phone.
I'm at the Pentagon, and I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military.
I'm sorry. I cannot listen to a guy talk about, I want to thank God. If it wasn't for God, God, He's the best. God came up to me the other day, strong God, big God, muscular God, looking like he was straight out of Central Casting, came up to me with tears in his eyes, and he said, thank you for all of the support and the prayers. Don, you are the greatest. You're the best president we've ever had, and thank you for dropping bombs on people. You know the people that I wanted you to kill. I'm God, and you know I love to kill, and you are my messenger. Look, I'm sorry I'm laughing at this because it's just ridiculous. He got the Three Stooges behind him, and they're all little matchy, and they're all, trying to project this strength, and they look weak as fuck, y'all. They look weak as fuck. What else we got here? We're done with, we gotta thank God. Oh, very successful bombing run. Let's take a look. This is the before picture of the mountain range. This is the after picture of the mountain range. It still looks like a mountain. I know. It was, the bombs went straight into the ground and blew it up from the inside out, and now it's just a big old sandbox. How is this different than the Moab? It looks exactly the same thing. I dropped a shitload of bombs. He dropped what Donald Trump ordered. He didn't do any dropping. The only thing he's dropped is his pants every time he has to take a dump. But he dropped, I think it was like a dozen, or maybe it was a couple of dozen, 30,000 pound bunker busters flown in by several B-2 bombers. And then, of course, he got some Navy subs to fire in some cruise missiles into a couple of other locations. You know, I mean, hey, look, America, we definitely know how to be dropping the bombs, man. And we've got a nice media that we go, oh my God, look at the sight of our rockets. If that doesn't fill you with patriotism, I don't know what does. Oh my God, this is like a Tom Cruise movie. Jesus fucking Christ, man. We're so goddamn cooked. We're so fucking cooked. Check this one out. This is in Tehran. This is what the bombings look like afterwards. Jesus Christ, man. Man, that's a mess. That's a fucking mess. Okay, so now we got Marco Rubio, one of the three stooges that was standing behind him. He was on Face the Nation, and I'm loving this screen capture here of him. He's giving his best Pete Keg's breath impersonation. I'm a little drunk. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give him a Donald Trump impersonation, but I'm kind of stuck in the Donald Trump impersonation or impression mode here. But anyway, he's on Face the Nation, and he seems to get a little frustrated with just a couple of simple questions. Let's have a look at him about to have a fit here.
Route, then there'll be consequences for that.
Let me follow up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not...
Sorry, I want to preface this. He said that, you know, he's concerned about them creating some weapons, and they have ambitions about creating a nuclear bomb. By the way, they've been saying that Iran is going to be getting a nuclear weapon since the fucking 90s. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. I mean, I was around. I was alive in 2002. And the whole weapons of mass destruction. And they've got those metal tubes for centrifuges. And they have 400 pounds of nuclear material. And it was all bullshit then. And it is all bullshit now. So she's asking him about that. And this is what he's got to say.
The intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization.
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build
point.
a weapon.
Whether or not the intelligence, our American intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just a couple of months ago said that they are not pursuing a nuclear weapon. She asked him about the intelligence, and he goes, intelligence doesn't matter. Forget the intelligence. We don't need no stinking intelligence.
Intelligence assessment, you know
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
the political decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why?
Maybe because it's nuclear material and they don't want to kill anybody with their nuclear material, and that's why they put it in the bottom of a mountain. Or maybe they don't want it to be destroyed by some dumbass Yahoo with orange face paint and a comb over. I don't know.
You bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only time
Maybe as a deterrent. I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but you don't see us threatening or bombing North Korea, do you? Because they have the nuke, man. The nuke is the deterrent. I don't want anybody to have nukes. I would rather everybody get rid of their fucking nukes if I had my choice. But having a nuke is a deterrent from having Israel or the United States drop bombs on you. You got to just remember, in 2018, Donald Trump ripped up the nuclear deal that Obama did. It was working. The JCPOA treaty was working. All of the inspectors, the IAEA was coming in and inspecting. They inspected the site that he dropped a dozen bunker buster bombs on. That thing was being inspected and had been inspected at least a dozen times. And at that point, they had only enriched their uranium by like 5% because they said that they were using it for their electrical grid. And then Donald Trump tears up the deal, and they stayed in compliance for the next couple of years, hoping that when Joe Biden took office, then they would be able to re-enter the deal. But Joe Biden didn't do it either. And after a couple of years of waiting on Joe Biden to do it, they decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just get our deterrent here. Because if we don't, we're going to get bombed. And lo and behold, here we are getting bombed by Israel and America. Duh, man. Why would you have 60% uranium? Maybe, just maybe, as a deterrent from the shit that they're getting right fucking now, dumbass.
In the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build.
Why does Brazil have a space program? Are they trying to go to the moon? Or are they trying to bomb America? Oh my God, we need to invade Brazil.
ICBM,
no, but that's a question. That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
That's also an inaccurate representation of it. That's an inaccurate representation of it.
That's an inaccurate representation of what your intelligence official Tulsi Gabbard said. So she's wrong. Like Donald Trump was asked on the plane a couple of days before all this shit went down. They asked the president and they said, hey, your director of national intelligence says that they're not creating me. He's like, I don't care. She's wrong. I'm right. I believe they are making a nuclear weapon. Why do you even hire a director of national intelligence if you're not going to listen to him? I don't know, man.
How intelligence is read. That's now how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium.
I just said forget about intelligence, and he just said forget about intelligence. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60% if you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon? Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and
Why do we have 8,000 short-range? We have way more than 8,000 short-range weapons. We have more than 8,000 short-range weapons in St. Louis, Missouri. Why? Why? Because people like America, not American people, I'm sorry, and the American government and the Israeli government are bombing you. Maybe that's why. Dumbass.
3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop. Why do you do all these things? They
Understood.
have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all
yes, and no one's disputing. No one.
They are not the source of instability in the Middle East. There is a country in the Middle East right now that is causing considerable instability, and they're doing a fucking genocide right now. Jesus Christ, man. Netanyahu is dog walking Donald Trump, Rubio, Keg's Breath, Vance. He's dog walking them all. They are just doing what they're told. This is not America first, man. This is Israel first. They are our proxy state in the Middle East. There is no getting around it. Whatever they do, we fucking follow, man. Like Netanyahu's got candy bars shooting out his ass. Donald Trump is following him around like a little puppy dog. Jesus Christ. Just a reminder, this is Tulsi Gabbard a couple of months ago.
That Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program. In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus.
So she is saying right there, the intelligence community has been monitoring this, and they, the Iranians, are not pursuing a nuclear weapon. You hired her for that information. Look, I'm not a fan of Tulsi Gabbard. You know, she looks like fucking Cruella de Vil with bad skin. You know, and I'm not attacking her on it, but she used to be a fucking Democrat, and now she's in the goddamn, in the goddamn White House. She talks about being an anti-war person, but she's all about the war. Anyway, but here she is saying they don't have a nuke. They're not pursuing a nuke. And even if they were, and honestly, if I was in Iranian leadership and after having the deal ripped up, in 2018, and Biden not getting back in, and Donald Trump talking about regime change as we speak, oh my God, would I be trying to get a nuke? Not to shoot it, but to have a deterrent. We don't attack Russia directly because they have nukes. We don't attack North Korea because they would shoot at Seoul, South Korea, like that. There's a reason why these countries have developed it. We do not drop bombs on India or Pakistan because they got nukes. This is what countries have been doing for a while now to keep, the whole mutually assured destruction thing. Like I said, I wish nobody had nukes, but if you're going to have to deal with the foreign policy of America, constantly threatening to overthrow your leadership or bomb you into oblivion, I'm just saying, if I was them, I'd be making sure that I had at least a nuclear deterrent. Here is that other, dipshit that was standing behind Donald Trump, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was on Meet the Press, and let's see what he had to say. Trying to remember what the conversation was here, but she'll ask it and I'll remember.
Hospital in Israel this week, Israel's defense minister said the Ayatollah, quote, can no longer be allowed to exist. Does the United States support Israel killing Iran's leader?
Well, look, that's up to the Israelis, but our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change. We do not want to protract this or build this out any more than it's already been built out. We want to end their nuclear program, and then we want to talk to the Iranians about a long-term settlement here.
Don't want a regime change, huh? This is what Donald Trump said. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iran regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Mega! That sounds dirty. Make Iran great again. He's saying it right there, JD. God damn, man. These guys are jumping from left foot to right foot, trying to, smooth over the craziness of Donald Trump, all of his batshit decision-making paradigm. They're really bending over backwards, trying to smooth it out, to make it look good and, and profesh on the news, And then Donald Trump just fucking truths out some bullshit, with his little bleats. Why not do a regime change? If I'm not mistaken, what's the guy's name? Ken Klippenstein and Seymour Hersh have already put out reports saying that there is a green light for regime change. So whatever they're saying about no regime change and Donald Trump just saying, why not do regime change? It kind of proves Kenny Clips and Seymour Hersh correct that the green light is already there for regime change. So, and you don't just get regime change from dropping a bomb or two. That means boots on the ground, folks. And when you put boots on the ground, it ain't over in a day or two, hun. It ain't no in and out like the Vaseline salesman kind of procedure. This is one that will linger for a long time. And meanwhile, you can't have health care, but we got plenty of money for bombs. Let's see what JD bullshit he's got to say here.
We believe very strongly that there are two pathways. There's a pathway where Iran continues to fund terrorism, continues to try to build a nuclear program, attacks American troops. That's the bad pathway for Iran, and it will be met with overwhelming force. There's another pathway on the table here.
Oh, by the way, earlier today, Iran did strike a military base, one of our military bases in Doha, or just outside of Doha in Qatar. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was the same military base that Iran struck after Trump assassinated Qasem Soleimani. But I'm not 100% sure if that was the base or not, because we have dozens of bases surrounding Iran. I mean, if you were in Iran and there was like 20 to 30 American military bases surrounding your country, do you feel threatened at all? Look, I am not for fundamentalist religion in any form. And having a supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, I'm not for that shit. I'm not for fundamentalist Christianity, fundamentalist Judaism, fundamentalist, Islam. I think that they're all batshit fucking crazy. But from a political point of view, if you are a leader of a country and you're surrounded by another country that's constantly threatening to invade you or attack you or bomb you or get your proxy, state like Israel to bomb you, I think that I would probably be on my toes. You know what I mean? Especially considering you got like 90 million plus people that are, in your country and under your protection. So, but JD Vance, God, man, just a couple years ago, you were calling Donald Trump America's Hitler, and here you are, his vice president.
Pathway where Iran integrates itself into the international community, stops funding terrorism, and stops trying to pursue a nuclear weapon. This is a reset. This is an opportunity for the Iranians to take the smart path. We certainly hope that they will.
Couple more questions, and we're almost...
Yeah, well, he's going to give you a little bit of bullshit, but there's one little clip in here that I really wanted you to see. It's pretty goddamn funny.
A productive negotiation, I think that this could have gone in a much different pathway. Unfortunately, the Iranians decided to stonewall us, and we saw the consequences of that last night.
Mr. Vice President, very quickly, as you know, this is dividing lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Many Republicans supportive, but Congressman Thomas Massie saying this was unconstitutional. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes, he's right. Thomas Massie, who is a, for the most part, pretty crazy libertarian guy, but generally speaking, a libertarian is mostly principled when it comes to war. And Thomas Massie says that it's unconstitutional because it is. The war powers rest with Congress, and Donald Trump is using the authorization of use of military force from 2002 to drop bombs. And so many Congress people have signed on to curtailing Donald Trump. Even AOC has said that he needs to be impeached over this thing. And out of all of the signatories on this stopping Trump using the military, in this fashion, I think it's 59 Congress members. They're all Democrats and one Republican. That's Thomas Massie. But, here's the really funny thing. Thomas Massie is probably okay with everything that Donald Trump is doing. He just wants it to go through Congress. So he's like, hey, dog, just reach out to me. Put it through Congress. We'll give you the permission to do it. You just got to do it through Congress. But Donald Trump does not give a shit. Man, he wants to be king. He's king. He's going to drop this bomb, goddammit. He's going to do what he wants. You know, he don't give a shit about Thomas Massey. Anyway, I kind of skipped over something, so let's just get this.
He's saying this was unconstitutional. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying it's grounds for impeachment, saying the president should have gotten congressional approval first. What do you say to members of Congress who say it was unconstitutional for the president to act unilaterally?
Well, I'd say two things, Kristen, and this is very important. First of all, the president has clear authority to act to prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, and the worst weapon of mass destruction of them all is nuclear. The idea that this was outside of presidential authority, I think any real serious legal person would tell you that's not true. And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East.
But we're going to get into a new war. I know you're tired, but, you know, gird your loins, folks. We're getting back in the fray.
I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives.
You don't understand. All the other politicians, all the other presidents, all the other leaders, they were all dumb. They were all big stupid. And we've got a big, brave, smart boy with an orange face and a shitty little comb around. He's the smart one, folks. Trust me, I'm a genius. Nobody knows brain like me.
So this is not going to be some long, drawn-out thing. We've got in. We've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program.
We've got in. We're getting out. It's going to be short, but now we're going to dismantle. You think that that's... Did you get in and get out? Or we're going to get in, get out, and then get back in again? Make up your mind, man. I know you don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. And you're jumping from left foot to right foot trying to make it make sense. But dog, it is not making sense. Stop trying to make sense, man. You're not good at it. Anyway, let's see. I already showed you that. This is Donald Trump came out with the whole regime change thing. So Carolyn Levitt was asked about it outside the West Wing. And, you know, she's given some like trad wife, real lady vibes too. Oh my God, I'm dressed like Carolyn Levitt. Jesus Christ, what happened? I shouldn't have done it this way.
When the president is floating the idea of regime change, how does he believe that should be accomplished? Through the Iranians, the Israelis, or the Americans?
The president's posture and our military posture has not changed. The president was just simply raising a question that I think many people around the world are asking. If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, we just took out their nuclear program on Saturday night, as you
No, you
know.
didn't.
But if they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up?
Honey, they were engaging in diplomacy. And then Israel killed the guy doing the diplomatic deal. And we just destroyed all their nuclear capability, did you? Because I hear tell that, you know, with Donald Trump giving the whole 2 weeks thing and then the bombing with Israel bombing them, I hear that they have probably moved out all of the stuff that was in that mountain. So you just bombed a mountain. Good job.
Brutal terrorist regime. That's a question the president raised last night. But as far as our military posture, it hasn't changed.
Carolyn, what is the timetable the president has given Iran right now to come to the negotiating table?
He asked, if you can't hear it, it's a little loud. You know, he's asking if Iran is wanting to come to the negotiating table. Would you, after having the deal torn up, and then, you know, then Donald Trump says, you know, some overtures about making a deal, and then you send in your top military leader into Iraq, and then he gets assassinated, and then here we are doing it all over again, and you're trying to make a deal with him, and then Netanyahu shoots your chief negotiator. Would you go back to the negotiating table? You cannot trust a fucking word that the United States leadership says. Why would you? They have never acted in good faith. Every time they pretend like they're trying to do something, you know, that involves peace, 5 minutes later, there's bombs being dropped.
made his message to Iran quite clear.
I would straight home news as well.
On regime change, that question of if the president was supporting that idea of having Iran's supreme leader assassinated, he's now floating this idea of regime change. Is that an idea that you would consider?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president. I just explained his truth to you last night.
Caroline.
So she doesn't know what the fuck Donald Trump is going to do when it comes to regime change. She's just kind of, brushing it off. I'm not going to get ahead of the president. The president's going to do what the president's going to do. He's my big daddy, and I love him. Just to remind you, Comedy Central did a little mashup, little montage, and this is not all of them because I've seen quite a few, but they did a little montage of Netanyahu talking about how Iran is going to have nuclear capabilities in 2 weeks. And or 2 weeks or 2 months. He's been saying this since like 95. Anyway, here's a little refresher from The Daily Show I thought was pretty funny.
Stopped. Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 5 years.
If not stopped.
Man, look at him now, 2025, and look at him in 1995. He hasn't changed much. He still looks like an old fuck. But he's been saying the same shit. I guess hate, anger, and bloodlust for Iranian death has kept him, looking perpetually 50 years old. Just a reminder, this guy has been saying this shit for fucking years, man. For years. And like I said, if I was in Iranian leadership, man, I would absolutely be hustling. Now, by the way, they're not going to be able to hustle to do this. It's not like you have enriched uranium to 60%. You still need to enrich it to 90%. I'm sure that you probably need a little bit of time to make that happen. And then what? You got to develop an ICBM to shoot it at Cleveland? Or we're going to start with Israel first? If anybody is bloodthirsty, if anybody is constantly dropping bombs and attacking all over the Middle East, it's Benjamin Netanyahu, man. And he is literally dog walking Donald Trump, and he's not even carrying a little baggie to clean up his shit afterwards. He is leading Donald Trump around, by his tail, and Donald Trump is falling for it. All of the posturing, all of the screaming and the yelling about no new wars and I'm your peace president. It's never been true. He dropped the mother of all bombs. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He tried to coup Venezuela. He bombed Syria and said, we're going to take the fucking oil. He did end up taking like a third of Syria, and then he gave the Golan Heights to Israel. He increased drone strikes by over 400%. Barack Obama was the drone president until Donald Trump's first term, and he increased those by 400%. His very first military action as president in 2017 ended in the result of killing an 8-year-old American girl. Donald Trump is not a dove. He's never been a dove. He is a bomb-happy, dyed-in-the-wool, neocon Republican. He hired John Bolton. He hired Mike Pompeo, CIA Mike Pompeo. He hired Gina Haspel, noted torturer. He is not a peace-loving, fun guy, man. He'd be loving some war. He'd be loving some military. Increased the military budget every year he was in there. And this year, it's $1.1 trillion. Over $1 trillion. You want education? Fuck that. We got bombs. You want healthcare? Screw that, man. We need tanks and missiles. You know? Jesus. All of the people out there that are, just happen to be listening to me, and if you are MAGA and you believe that Donald Trump is a peace guy, just look at what's happening right now. Past experience of Donald Trump told me that he was not going to be peaceful in this term. You just judge him by what he did before. I don't care what the guy says. Rhetoric don't mean shit. Actions mean shit. And Donald Trump did a lot of military and warlike actions in his first term. I didn't think he was going to turn on a dime and be a peace boy for this one. But for some reason, he didn't start any new wars. He didn't end any wars either. Say what you want about Joe Biden, but he actually did end the war in Afghanistan. It didn't look great when it was happening, but we lost that war. We propped up leadership in Afghanistan and it immediately crumbled afterwards. We knew it wasn't going to fucking work anyway. And that's not Joe Biden's fault. That's George W. Bush's fault. But he got out of that war. Now, of course, immediately Russia attacks Ukraine. And then we have to get into that because we made a deal with Ukraine. And Joe Biden was honoring the deal we made. Donald Trump's the only one that doesn't honor his fucking deals. The art of the deal for Donald Trump is, I don't honor the deal. That's how he does his art of the deal shit. He just doesn't honor it. I've known people in this town who have worked for Donald Trump, helping building his buildings or what have you. An electrician friend of mine said that he had a contract with Donald Trump for one of his towers, and he ended up not paying him anything, kept him in court for about 3-4 years, and then paid him 20 cents on the dollar. That's how Donald Trump does the art of the deal. He just don't pay out. He does not honor or uphold his end. And when it comes to military, it's exactly the same fucking way. So, you could scream and yell about Joe Biden doing a new war with Ukraine, but it wasn't Ukraine that invaded Russia. It was Russia that invaded Ukraine. It was not Iran attacking Netanyahu in Israel. Israel attacked Israel attacked Iran. They killed their chief negotiator. He fucked the deal. And whether or not Donald Trump was actually looking for peace or if it was just a ruse to get them to look the other way so Israel could do their bombing, I don't know. Either Donald Trump is in on it or he was fooled and dog-walked by Netanyahu. Either way, it looks bad. Either way, he's not a peacetime president. And if we end up in another 20-year war, we're going to have to wait for fucking 10 years for the rest of MAGA to go, yeah, well, that was not a really good deal. Who are you going to blame it on? You going to blame it on somebody else? Oh, he's got some bad intelligence. Well, who hired those people? Donald Trump did. When does the buck stop with the president? Are you the leader or are you not? I don't want to hear any of this bullshit about, well, he got bad intel or he was deceived. He is the president. He is the most powerful man in the world. He makes a decision. It's his decision. Even if he got bad intel or not, that is his choice. He is the president. The buck stops with him. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.